grab your wallet. In the final few days of California's state legislative session, Governor Gavin Newsom is secretly trying to cram through an $8 billion tax hike annually on California residents. Coming up, we blow the lid open on what he's trying to do, how much it's going to cost you, and what we're doing to try to fight back. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state legislator. And yep, Gavin Newsom, he posted earlier this week about inflation in the Trump administration, and Donald Trump is terrible, that he's leading the prices of grocery bills to go higher. All the while, the SOB governor that we've got is sneaking through more than an $8 billion massive tax increase on Californians. It comes in the form of something called cap and trade, although Newsom is trying to call it cap and invest now, and I just call it tax and spend. We're going to explain this scam. We're going to show how much it actually costs you. We're going to also expose the fact that politicians are marketing the program as though it saves you money. And then we're going to focus on what we do to stop this absurd overreach of California state government into your pocketbooks. But first, I do want to remind you, at Reform California, we're leading the fight to get the truth out there as to what's going on in Sacramento behind closed doors, the hidden corrupt deals, the secret tax increases before you know about them. We need your help. Go to reformcalifornia.org and join our growing movement. Yes, we are a political movement organizing up and down the state of California, in every region. We hold rallies, we recruit and train candidates, we endorse candidates, we distribute voter guides, we sponsor reform-minded ballot measures like the California Voter ID Initiative. All of this work requires your help. Yes, there is a fight underway. You don't have to flee to another state. You can join the fight to take back this state from the insanity of the far left. That begins by you going to that website, reformcalifornia.org, and doing two things. Number one, sign up at the bottom if you're not already signed up, and getting information from us, please do so that you stay informed. Second, contribute. Even $5 puts gas in the tank of this movement so that we can fight on your behalf. With that, let's get into what is cap and trade. So here's the headline in Cal Matters this week. We only have 1 week left of the California state legislature, thank goodness, because after this week is done, they can't do any more damage by passing bad laws for the remainder of the year, but they've done a whole lot of damage, and in the next couple of days, they're going to do a lot more. One of the bits of damage that we expect will be this secret bill to impose this $8 billion annual tax increase on all Californians, something called cap and trade. Yes, it's an existing tax. And this tax is increasing your gasoline by anywhere between 26 cents per gallon and as much as 43 cents per gallon. And so Cal Matters exposes the fact that Governor Newsom is behind closed doors. Again, these people don't operate in the light of day for transparency so that the public knows what's going on. He's trying to cook up a deal to extend this tax. So it says California lawmakers are scrambling to find a last-minute deal that would extend the state's landmark. I love how they call it landmark. It's so good. It's wonderful. Landmark. How about devastating, controversial, costly greenhouse gas reduction program known as cap and trade through 2045. Oh, look at that. It's going to be a 20-year tax hike extension. So cap and trade, what is it? Cap and trade is, again, part of their climate change religion, their fetish about all things carbon. They say any industry, any business like oil refineries or your electricity company or a manufacturing plant, any entity that releases carbon needs to pay for the carbon that they're releasing. They have to buy what they call carbon credits. And basically, it's a tax. It's a tax on carbon. And they use that money then to subsidize the California state budget. Oh, yeah. And we're going to expose this in just a moment, because during the budget hearings, I went in and just blasted them, exposing what they were actually doing with the money. At the time, they said, we're going to charge a carbon credit, carbon tax on all industries for greenhouse gas emissions. And we're going to do two things with that. Number one, the expense of releasing carbon will force industry to switch to non-carbon based activity. It has not. Number two, we'll use the money to reduce the effects of climate change and to prevent climate change and to fight climate change. Well, the one thing they could have used the money for, to thin the forests and to manage vegetation, to reduce catastrophic fires, yeah, nope, they haven't used it for that. So we get this program, and understand that when you charge a tax to like an oil company or a manufacturing plant, what are they going to do? Are they just going to absorb that? Is there a unicorn in the backyard that dumps gold bullion every time it does its business? No, they pass the cost of any tax increase for the production of oil or gas, the generating of electricity, the production of a product. They pass it on to, you guessed it, you, the consumer. And that's why, for example, cap and trade has been identified as increasing California gas prices per gallon by 26 to 43 cents per gallon, and spiking our electricity costs as well. How much money is raised? Well, here is the California Air Resources Board chart. Take a look. Since the program was started, we're talking about less than $1 billion in 2013, 2012 per year, all the way up to last year, 23, 24. $8.1 billion. And we're still trying to get a firm handle on the 24, 25 numbers, but $8.1 billion. Now, $5.1 billion of this goes into the state's budget for politicians to spend. That's why I don't call it cap and trade. I call it tax and spend. They collect money from consumers through higher prices on all your products, including your gas, and they put it in the state budget. They get to spend that money on anything they want. In a moment, I'll share with you the clip exposing where they're actually putting the money for salaries. They say it's for firefighters, but again, it's to cover existing programs that the state runs, not do new programs. And again, I think the whole program, cap and trade, ought to be repealed, and the savings should be passed on to you. Now, $3 billion here goes to what they call the Utility Ratepayer Protection Climate Credit Fund. What's that for? Well, when they passed this, the utility company said, well, if you do this, we're going to have to send out rate notices to all ratepayers, letting them know that the cap and trade is going to cost billions of dollars more in higher utility rates. And we're going to have to explain to consumers where that money came from. So the politicians were like, oh, don't do that. Because unlike gas prices where people are at the pump and they're like, oh gosh, this sucks. It costs a lot of money. People actually have to write a check for their utility bill. Like a car tax, the utility bill is very much understood by consumers, and they get really upset about it. And then, of course, the utilities companies are basically threatening the politicians. If you do this to us, we will tell them why their rates went up. So the politicians and the utility companies hatched a plan to basically give both of them PR credit for something that you're paying for. Okay. So they charge these cap and trade taxes on utility related electricity production. So that costs you more money. You're paying higher utility rates. But then they say, let's give them the money back. Let's give them their own money back, but let's take credit for it. Let's say, oh, look at the gift we've given you. This is like the bank robber coming in, stealing your money, and then showing up after keeping a bunch of it. Because look at how much they're keeping. They're keeping $5.1 billion. A lot of this is in your gas prices that you're paying. They're not giving you 26 to 43 cents per gallon back because they overcharge you. No, they're keeping that money. They're pocketing the money. So they're taking $8 billion from you. They're coming in and saying, I'm giving you free money. You should be appreciative of me. And take a look at how the media covers it. Here are some of the headlines. Millions of Californians get average of $137 in credits on their April utility bills thanks to state's climate program. That's from the governor's office, a press release. Thanks to the state's climate program? No. $137 in credits of money that was stolen from them by the governor and the asshat legislators, the politicians, the greedy stealers up here, the thieves, the money being given back to the consumers. Here's another one. Spring bill relief, up to $125 climate California credit automatically applied to PG&E customers. Oh, and then PG&E gets some of the good grace. PG&E decreases residential electric rates on September 1st. Customers receive climate credit October bills. Yay! Thank you, PG&E. Thank you, Governor Newsom. The peasants get some crumbs after the elites stole the money in the first place. The media doesn't explain this. I love how there's some, in this Google search, there are op-eds from far left environmental groups behind the cap and trade program claiming how California lawmakers can trim up to 20% off consumer electric bills. You know what it is? Let's raise the rates by 25% and then reduce them by 20% and pocket the 5%, if you're lucky. These people are liars, cheats, and thieves. It's why we pay double the electricity rates in California versus the national average. So they're trying to cram through a 20-year extension on this costly program. And this costly program will continue to try to convince you that somehow the very generous politicians give a crap about your cost of living by giving you some crumbs back. We're exposing this program at every turn. And during the state legislative hearings on this program, I was the only legislator to speak out in opposition to it. During the budget hearing, I'm going to play that clip for you. And I want you to see how I kind of go through the budget and basically explain and put on the record what this program is all about and how they are literally taking the money in the name of protecting the environment just to cover their budget deficit. It's a scam, and it is indeed a tax. But I need your help to make this fight happen. The best way for us to stop cap and trade is to make cost of living the centerpiece of this upcoming election and to overturn and break the Democrat supermajority in Sacramento. To do that, I need help recruiting, training, and supporting candidates. Please go to the website reformcalifornia.org, chip in a contribution, and as I mentioned, at the bottom of the site, sign up and become part of our growing movement. First name, last name, email, phone, and zip code. That's all it takes so that you are informed on what's going on and what's really causing your costs to spike. Here's the video from the budget hearing in the state legislature where I expose the truth to my fellow legislators as to what they are doing with the cap and trade, or as I call it, tax and spend program. Take a watch.
Cap and invest? Who in the hell came up with that one? Because when I'm looking at the cap and trade, at least you can understand that the folks that back it, which I don't, were saying that we were going to cap the carbon emissions and then allowed a trading system to create somewhat of a market-based system to reduce carbon emissions. Again, I think it just doesn't work. But that being said, that's a different debate. So now we're calling it cap and invest. What's the invest? What's this invest concept here?
So I think it's similar to the branding that Washington State has used for their similar market-based program. But more so what we've been discussing here today and for many years is the use of the proceeds of the sale of allowances. How does the state using those to invest in its programs across the board?
So what's the return on investment? You would presume reduction in CO2, correct?
So I think there are different thoughts on sort of how the proceeds of the sale of allowances are used. in statute, there's required to be a GHG nexus. However, recently the state has used it for other purposes. And as the LEO mentioned earlier, GGRF is a flexible fund source that could be used similar to general fund.
No, but that's where I'm going. Thank you for admitting that. So it's not really cap and invest, because if you're investing in something, it started out as a carbon program to reduce CO2. Then we said we're going to do cap and invest, but the invest is, well, if you're investing, what is the return on investment? It's not a financial return because, government never makes money. Okay. We're not getting any money off of this. We spend money. You would presume, since it's a cap and trade program assessed for the environmental protection benefit, we would be getting an environmental benefit. But no, that's not really the green I'm seeing. I see a lot of money changing hands. No, what you just pointed out is exactly true. The governor is using cap and trade, and I think the legislature is guilty of this as well, as a way of covering general fund expenses. And you're seeing that right now with how you're using cap and trade for the fire budget. Those expenses are general fund expenses. You would argue that we pay our property tax revenues, our income tax revenues, so that we can have fire protection. It's like a core role of government. It's not one of these things that's like, oh, we're going to invest in something for CO2. No, it is a core role of government. But we're rating that program to cover general fund expenses. And then at the same time, we've got $1 billion rolling out for high-speed rail. Not a single bit of carbon has been reduced from billions of dollars of high-speed rail waste. I mean, what are we up to? Like $20 billion at this point, if you count the federal monies. And now we got $1 billion a year on a train that is never going to carry even one passenger. The fantasy of, Bakersfield to Merced, that heavily trafficked, corridor, we're not going to see that ever constructed. And so you don't see any CO2 benefit there. You don't even see a general fund backfill there. I could at least say, we're getting a general fund benefit from the firefighter protection that the governor is shifting the money to. And so let's just be clear about this. If you want to be, truth in advertising, it's not cap and invest. It's not even cap and trade. Let's be clear. For the environmentalists, this is not cap and trade. You know what this is? It's tax and spend. Let's call it what it is. The cap and trade program is a tax and spend program. And if people find that the benefit of the programs that the governor is spending the money on are worthy, and that the way we're generating the revenue is appropriate, hey, that's called democracy. It's our system of government. I can live with that. But let's not sit here and change a word unless we're actually going to change a word to make it more accurate, more transparent, more honest. So I know that it's not your fault. You didn't come up with it. I'm sure the governor was sitting there looking at his little handheld mirror, came up with this idea of like, we're going to shift this money and we're going to call it cap and invest. That's what we're going to do. Because I think people are waking up to the fact that it's not about the environment anymore. But we are extending cap and trade, cap and invest, tax and spend, administratively in a budget without having the debate I just went through. I would love to have that conversation. And I could lose the debate on the cap and trade side. I would be okay as long as our democracy is honest, that the voters know exactly what they're getting. But that's not what's happening here. And the governor is trying to administratively extend this program and turn it into some sort of Frankenstein program because of budget necessities. And that's something that I hope both sides of the political aisle are willing to call out.
Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.